After spending a whopping $3,400, going through countless tests, and enduring 6 long months of waiting for appointments, the journey has been anything but easy. Every day, Bill Henderson found himself battling an increasing wave of dizziness that just wouldn't let up. He found himself gripped by fear, unable to muster the courage to slide into the driver's seat of his car. Imagine this. What if the actual issue was something incredibly straightforward that none of his doctors even considered looking into? Bill Henderson was a guy who lived by the rules of precision. For 35 years in the bustling city of Detroit, he carved out a name for himself as a structural engineer, tackling intricate challenges with a methodical approach, one step at a time. When the dizziness kicked in 6 months ago, he tackled it just like any engineering problem, collecting data, reaching out to experts, and searching for that perfect solution. It all started off so quietly, almost like a whisper in the wind. As Bill pushed himself away from his desk, a wave of lightheadedness washed over him. It was nothing too serious, just a fleeting moment that caught him off guard. "I'm just getting old," he said to his wife Martha as they sat down for dinner, the soft glow of the candlelight flickering between them. "This is something that we all go through at some point." As the 3rd week rolled around, something unsettling began to unfold. The dizziness, which once seemed to strike only during movement, now crept in even when he was sitting still. What could be causing this strange turn of events? As the 2nd month rolled around, he found himself clutching onto furniture, trying to steady his balance. By the 4th month, he had completely given up driving. "This isn't just normal aging, Bill," Martha exclaimed, her eyes fixed on her husband of 38 years as he fought to make his way from the kitchen to the living room, desperately needing the wall for support. "There's definitely something off here." Bill kicked off his journey at the office of Dr. Wilson, the family physician he had trusted for an incredible 15 years. "So, after a quick checkup, Doctor," Wilson decided to send him over to Dr. Sarah Rodriguez, who just happens to be an ENT specialist. "Stay tuned to find out what happens next." "It might be an issue with your inner ear," Dr. Wilson said, diving into the details. "This is something that a lot of guys your age experience." Dr. Rodriguez really took the time to dive deep into everything. She kicked things off with a thorough hearing test, took a closer look at Bill's ears using a microscope, and then decided to order an MRI to get a detailed view of his inner ear structures. "So, here's the deal. The appointment set me back $420, and then the MRI? That was another $1,200 on top of that." Can you believe it? After 3 weeks of investigation, she finally declared, "Everything looks normal. All right, let's dive into some vestibular therapy." So here's the story. "I went through 8 weeks of physical therapy with Janet Morrison, and it set me back $960. It was quite the journey." So Janet decided it was time for Bill to step up his game. She had him doing some balance exercises, moving his head around, and even tracking his eyes with some cool drills. It was all about getting him in tip-top shape. "Some patients see improvement," she said with a hopeful smile, as if sharing a secret that could change everything. Bill looked around, but there was nothing in sight. Feeling stuck, Dr. Rodriguez decided it was time to send Bill to see Dr. Michael Chang, a neurologist who knows all about movement disorders. What happens next? Stay tuned. Dr. Chang had a hunch that it might be vestibular migraine, so he decided to take things up a notch. He ordered another MRI, this time focusing on Bill's brain, and added an EEG to see if there was any seizure activity going on. Stay tuned to find out what happens next. Guess what? We've got another $1,800 worth of tests coming up. "Your brain scans are absolutely perfect," Dr. Chang exclaimed, a smile spreading across his face. "Today, we're diving into the world of migraine medication." Bill took the migraine medication, hoping for relief, but instead, he found himself feeling foggy and exhausted. To make matters worse, it did nothing to ease his dizziness. So, after 6 long weeks of waiting and wondering, Dr. Chang finally made the call to refer him to the amazing doctor, Lisa Patterson, a top-notch cardiologist. What happens next? Stay tuned. You won't believe this. Sometimes cardiac issues can actually lead to dizziness, he revealed, sharing an eye-opening insight. Dr. Patterson decided it was time for some important tests. First up, an echocardiogram to take a closer look at the heart, then a stress test to see how it performs under pressure, and finally, a 48-hour Holter monitor to keep track of the heart's rhythm over a couple of days. Exciting stuff ahead. For 2 whole days, Bill strapped on the monitor, capturing every dizzy spell that came his way. What would the results reveal? Stay tuned. So here's the deal. The tests are going to set you back another $2,100. Can you believe it? Dr. Patterson smiled and said, "Your heart is in excellent shape." So here's the deal. I'm going to send you over to Dr. James Mitchell. He focuses on helping those with balance disorders. At this point, Bill was starting to feel really down. After 6 long months, countless visits to 5 different specialists, and racking up over $6,000 in medical bills, he found himself in a worse situation than when he first began his journey. "It's like I'm trapped in a thick fog," he confided in Martha. "It feels like I'm on this wild journey, and none of the doctors can figure out what's going on with me." Dr. Mitchell, the balance specialist, was definitely the priciest option out there. So here's the deal. The whole evaluation came in at $550, but then the expert suggested this high-tech test known as a rotary chair examination, which would set you back another $800. Crazy, right? "Get ready, because this is going to reveal everything about your vestibular system," he exclaimed with enthusiasm. So guess what? The test results came back, and you won't believe it. They were totally normal, just like before. "Mr. Henderson," Dr. Mitchell began during the follow-up appointment, "I need to be straightforward with you. Hey everyone, today we're diving into something really intriguing. So guess what? Your test results are totally puzzling. Let's break it down and see what this could mean for you. Stay tuned." At first glance, everything seems just fine. But deep down, you're dealing with some serious symptoms that can't be ignored. There are moments when we need to come to terms with the fact that a clear reason might elude us. Bill walked out of that appointment, his spirits crushed and a sense of defeat weighing heavily on him. After spending a staggering $7,650 and dedicating 7 months of his life to endless medical appointments, he found himself facing the harsh reality of being told to simply accept his condition. That evening, he sank into his recliner, gripping the arms tightly, his heart racing as he dreaded the moment he would have to stand up, knowing the room would start to spin wildly around him. "There has to be something," Martha exclaimed, her eyes wide with determination. "There's a test that hasn't been done yet, and a doctor who might uncover what everyone else overlooked." So, picture this. A breakthrough that no one saw coming, emerging from the most unexpected source. It's the kind of twist that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Meet Jim, the retired paramedic living next door to Bill. His life is filled with stories and experiences that could fill a book. One Saturday morning, Jim's gaze drifted over the fence, and there he spotted Bill, gripping the railing tightly as he made his way down the back steps. "Hey, Bill, you doing all right?" Jim shouted into the distance. Bill took us on a wild journey through the twists and turns of the medical system that lasted for months. Jim leaned in, his curiosity piqued, and with a casual tone, he threw out a straightforward question. "So, has anyone taken a look at your blood pressure recently?" "So, I guess they all did," Bill said, nodding with a hint of curiosity. "You know how it goes, right?" "You wouldn't believe it," Jim exclaimed. "Hey, everyone. So here's the deal. You need to grab your wife and come on over. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Let's dive into the fun together. Check it out, everyone. I just got my hands on a blood pressure cuff." Just 5 minutes later, Jim skillfully wrapped the cuff around Bill's arm, setting the stage for what was about to unfold. So picture this. You're sitting there and the tension is building. You take a deep breath and check the numbers. Boom. The reading hits 168/98. What does that mean? Let's dive into it. With a furrowed brow, Jim reached for it once more. That's a blood pressure reading of 172/102. "Bill," Jim whispered, "this is high blood pressure." And I mean really, really high. "No way, that's just not going to happen," Bill exclaimed, shaking his head in disbelief. "I've been on quite the journey, visiting 7 different doctors. You'd think someone would have noticed that, right?" Jim let out a frustrated sigh and shook his head, disbelief written all over his face. "It might sound surprising, but trust me, I've witnessed it firsthand. Have you ever noticed how some specialists dive so deep into their field that they completely overlook the fundamentals? It's a fascinating phenomenon that happens more often than you'd think." Hey there. So, have you ever thought about the last time someone actually took the time to put a cuff on your arm and check your blood pressure? It's one of those things we often overlook, right? Let's dive into that moment and see why it matters. Bill took a moment to reflect on all the appointments he had lined up. The ENT doctor took a closer look inside his ears. So, there he was, sitting in the doctor's office, and the neurologist was about to test his reflexes. The anticipation in the air was palpable as the doctor prepared for the examination. The cardiologist conducted some advanced heart tests that really pushed the boundaries of medical technology. As he reflected on it, a surprising realization hit him. He couldn't recall a single moment when a doctor had actually taken his blood pressure the old-fashioned way. Did you know that high blood pressure can lead to dizziness? Let's dive into this surprising connection. Bill had a question. "You won't believe how common this symptom is," Jim said, leaning in with excitement. "Imagine your body's blood pressure regulation system going completely haywire. Values start to shift and change. We refer to this as being labile. Imagine this. You stand up and suddenly stress hits you like a wave. Even when you're just sitting there, your blood pressure is doing its own wild dance, fluctuating like crazy. It's a roller coaster ride you never signed up for. That's precisely what leads to the type of dizziness you're talking about. So, picture this. It's the next Monday, and our guy Bill picks up the phone. He's got a mission in mind. He calls up Dr. Wilson's office, and guess what? He's asking for an appointment, but not just any appointment. Nope. He wants to get his blood pressure checked. Stay tuned to see what happens next." In a surprising twist, the nurse looked a bit confused by the straightforward request. But guess what? She went ahead and scheduled him for that very afternoon. So here's the deal. Dr. Wilson decided to take 3 readings, and guess what? He spaced them out just 5 minutes apart. How cool is that? In this episode, we dive into the shocking results of Bill's health checkup. It turns out he was facing moderate to severe hypertension, with his systolic pressures hitting alarming numbers between 165 and 178. Stay tuned as we explore what this means for Bill's health journey. "Bill, this is a big deal," Dr. Wilson said, his cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Wow, can you believe we overlooked this? It's just mind-blowing. So here's the deal. High blood pressure can totally be a major player when it comes to feeling dizzy, especially in the way you've been talking about. Can you believe it? 7 doctors completely overlooked something so fundamental. Bill posed the question. So here's the deal. Doctor, Wilson decided to prescribe a mild blood pressure medication for Bill. But that's not all. He also set up follow-up appointments every 2 weeks to keep a close eye on how Bill's responding. Stay tuned for updates. In just 3 weeks, Bill experienced an incredible transformation as his dizziness episodes dropped by a staggering 80%. In just 6 weeks, they had almost disappeared completely. After what felt like an eternity, Bill finally stood tall again, feeling the ground beneath him with a sense of balance he hadn't experienced in 8 long months. He hopped back into the driver's seat, got back to his favorite coffee shop, and dove right into his everyday life once more. I feel like I'm reclaiming my life, he shared with Martha. So what was the final price tag for his treatment? Imagine this, you walk into a clinic, and for just $30, you get a professional checkup. But wait, there's more. You can also grab a blood pressure cuff for only $15. It's a simple yet effective way to keep track of your health. Imagine this, a medication that only costs $12 a month. That's right, just $12. Can you believe it? It's an affordable option that can make a real difference in your life. Stay tuned to find out more about how this small price tag can lead to big benefits. Bill's journey opened his eyes to a crucial truth about today's healthcare world. Even the most advanced medical systems can overlook the simplest issues. With a solid engineering background, he had always believed that the most elegant solutions are often the simplest. Yet, in the hustle and bustle of life, he had overlooked this principle when it came to his own health. After months of searching for complex answers, Bill looks back and realizes the solution was right there all along, just a roll of my sleeve away. So here's the deal. Bill has made it a habit to check his blood pressure every single day. It's become part of his routine, and he's super committed to staying on top of his health. He discovered that hypertension is often referred to as the silent killer, and for a very good reason. It can lurk in the shadows, causing no symptoms for months or even years, leaving many unaware until serious complications arise. Bill has taken on a mission to empower patients, encouraging them to take charge of their own healthcare journeys. Hey everyone, here's a crucial tip for you. Don't just assume that the doctors are all on the same page and communicating with each other. Always remember, it's crucial to take responsibility for the fundamentals yourself. Never rely on others to cover the basics for you. Have you ever wondered about something? Let's dive into those questions together. Before diving into the deep end of costly investigations for rare conditions, it's crucial to eliminate the simpler possibilities first. Trust me, you don't want to miss those basic checks.